Alright, welcome back.
We're back.
Derek is fighting shit.
I am. I've done a bit of grinding since they last were here.
The last were here?
They were last year.
So
yeah.
what were we talking about? Oh, I was talking about Evangelion.
And how it's a weird ass show.
It's super weird. I kind of covered most of my
most
of my points with that one though. So I guess that's the end of that one. Oh man. What was Oh, there was another there's another anime that felt similar into that. Oh no, it was Attack on Titan, but
You've said your graces on that show a few times.
There was a show called you ever watched Casshern?
Yeah.
Have you?
I think so.
It's like really bad.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like really bad. I know.
Okay.
It's real bad.
So I watched Casshern years ago, and I've never been so infuriated with an anime in a long time. Like, I know I have problems with Evangelion, but it's still like kind of fun to watch. I have problems with Attack on Titan, but at least like there's stuff happening that makes sense. Casshern has none of these things. Like, it has interesting character designs, but like everything else is non-existent. And I mean non-existent. Like, there's no plot until you get like halfway through it. And then no. There's a vague semblance of a plot in the beginning, and then as the show continues, it reveals more and more information about the plot so that you get, like, the full story. Here's the problem. Once you get to the full story, they change the answers, is essentially how it goes. It's one of those shows where, like, imagine you had a question that was asked for you, and it was like, you have A through D to answer these. And then you look at and you start reading the question, but as you're reading the question, you start seeing them change, and you're like, what the hell is going on? That's how that whole show feels. Because, like, the more I watch that show, the more I'm just like, wait, but then that fucking retcons this other thing that happened, like, 3 episodes ago, and then they retcon that from being the thing, and then they go back to the first thing being the true thing, and I'm like, what is happening? What am I even watching? Like, so, and it doesn't try, like, you know how anime is normally, like, there's, like, a tale that's trying to be told?
Yeah.
This show handles it more like Samurai Jack. There is an end goal, but everything in between the beginning to the end goal is fucking random and doesn't really have to do with it. Like, Samurai Jack is like, he was sent back in time, and his end goal is to get back to his time period. Everything else is just fucking filler nonsense because it's to add character depth. That's that whole show. Like, the start is that there is a disease that's killing everything on the planet. And then the end goal is to figure out why. But as you watch it, the end goal stops being about why, and then becomes how, and then becomes, is it really happening? And then becomes, but there's a deity that can save them, and then becomes, but that deity does exist, but then becomes that deity was killed, and then becomes that deity wasn't killed, and then becomes that deity wasn't actually a good guy to begin with. All within the span of like 50 episodes.
Like you do.
It is. The only way I can describe it is that it is painful to watch after a while. Like, actually painful. Because you start out with Casshern Sin, and he's just wondrously walking through this, like, death plane, essentially. So there's... most all humans have been killed off by this disease. But robots are still pretty good. Except they're rusting and falling apart. Except for Casshern. And a few other important characters, but who cares? Mainly just Casshern is the only one that's not dying. So it's like...
his body is magic!
So, and he has a dog that's also not dying, but they don't really go into that, so whatever. Actually, does he have a dog in that one? That might be an older show of Casshern. Because Casshern's had a few shows. Also, Mega Man was based off of him.
Mega Man!
So, if
He's
you
a
recognize...
fighting robot!
If you know what Mega Man looks like, Mega Man X specifically, and you kind of know what he looks like, Casshern. But he's like... So, get this. So, they go on a journey for a while. He runs into, like, the last human alive, and then he dies at the end of that episode, so now there's, like, no humans alive. And then, like, he runs into more robots that are falling apart, and they want to eat him, because I guess robots, if they eat other robots, they degrade less fast because logic.
Chris, I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, I recognized the show,
yeah.
But as soon as you said the eat one, I was like, oh, it was that one.
Yeah. So...
I've seen it.
Okay, so you know where I'm coming from on
it's
this.
It's a weird-ass show.
Okay. Let me go into the plot for this, because it's absolutely insane. So...
You say plot, we're gonna put some air quotations around it, everybody?
Well, it's a plot that changes like a chameleon. So...
I like that expression.
Yeah. So, it starts out where they're just like, Casshern isn't degrading, there must be some secret he has, and we're gonna eat him so that we can live forever. And then, like, Casshern's just like, that sounds really dumb, and then kills a bunch of robots. And then this girl shows up, and she's just like, I've come to avenge my sister. And I can't remember if it was because she died from the rust or if he killed her or some shit, but it wasn't important. Zach, please. I'm trying to talk here.
Keep talking, who cares?
I don't understand. Are you saying there's another match after the final?
Uh-oh. Guess you didn't get the memo. Oh, Phil, would you tell her the rules?
Why does when she talks it always sounds like she's also kinda sad?
Because she always is.
And why is it when he's describing things, he just sounds like he's talking to a child? Like, uh-oh, you didn't get the memo.
For all we know, your boy Terra could be cruising through over in the west.
Then I shouldn't be fighting matches here. I should be over there, looking at
I'm
it.
busy.
No, you, can't. It's not allowed. Athletes are expressly forbidden from watching matches in the other bracket.
Did he just make that up? How should I know?
Alright, fine.
Jeez.
Look, you gotta just stay and fight this match. The two athletes I entered defaulted before they made it to the top. Give a guy a break. I got a reputation.
Hey, do it for us too?
Please?
Okay.
Alright then. I'll finish what I started.
You will? Oh, the gods are smiling.
The internet loves it.
Oh, she definitely finishes what she starts. I'll give her that.
A match between Zack and Aqua. This I can't miss.
Oh, man.
Stay on the action way. You got training to complete.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, you woggle in the merch. Anyways.
Aqua, give it your best out there.
You too.
Because I'm gonna give it my second best.
Yeah,
He does that in the fucking game.
Does he?
Yeah.
Zach,
I think that was the like the default waiting around animation
how
for
exactly is it that you know him?
Cloud in that game
It
too.
might have been. Because
Or was one of them.
Because Final Fantasy VII is the greatest game ever made, Chris, and if anybody tells you otherwise, they're wrong.
Or maybe it's a reference to the SWAT minigame you can play in that game.
It might be.
It might be.
Or something that made me
Sucks.
crazy.
I agree.
I'm not gonna whisper that.
Against Terra.
Oh.
But you know what? Terra freed me.
Darkness, darkness, darkness.
Terra freed him from the darkness. I had no idea. Maybe Terra's not a bad guy. I better go kill him anyways. Make sure he doesn't change.
You're right. Terra.
Terra. I'm so concerned for some reason, even though he was just stated that you did the good thing. I don't even know.
My son.
Okay, so yeah, so Casshern and Sin, right? They have the robots that eat each other. They run into a few people. They run into a few other people. Nothing important really happens for a long time.
Say it like anything important happens at all.
Eventually, she runs into a kid, and the kid has some dreams, and there's an old man. The old man has some dreams, and then they team up with Casshern to go travel the world. And then the girl, after having a weird acid dream that makes no fucking sense, decides to. Oh my god, I have to talk about the weird acid dream for the girl because it's really out there. So after confronting Casshern, she's just like torn over whether she wants to help him or kill him. And to figure this out, she has a weird acid dream because apparently robots sleep.
In that world,
I guess. So
In that world, they do.
So she has a weird acid dream where she's like a hooker on the side of the road, and then she fucks a human. And the only reason I know he's a human is because right after she finished having sex with him, her arm sword came out, and then she stabbed him to death in the bed, and he bleeded out everywhere. And all I could think of the first time I saw this was, what? What am I watching? Because they haven't established this as an acid dream yet. That's just the start of the acid dream, so you have no idea if this is real or not yet. And like... So then she leaves, and she has like a moment, and then a couple other weird shit happens, and then she like ends up inside a refrigerator, like a giant refrigerator, and then she gets out of it, and then she's in the desert, and at this point I'm really confused because they still haven't established it's an acid dream. But
this
like,
sounds like a you problem, Chris.
But like at this point I'm like, this has to be some sort of like hallucination, right? Because why else would this be happening? And then I think the whole thing... Oh no! Correction. She has sex with him. But she doesn't kill him the first time around. Then more and more acid dream shit happens. And then and then they show the scene again where she has sex with him, but then this time she kills him.
She robot arms him.
And then more acid dream stuff happens, and then it ends, and then she decides to team up with Casshern. And I'm not sure what she was supposed to learn. I'm not sure what it was supposed to be about. But she decided to team up with him anyways.
But she learned it. That's the important part.
Apparently.
Because friendship is magic.
And then she, like, tells Casshern, like, yo, this is, like, all your fault, by the way. No. It is believed that it is probably his fault. But then he runs into his twin brother, because Casshern has a twin brother.
Who's actually the villain.
Who's not actually the villain. Kinda, sort of.
But Casshern is the villain, that's what it is.
Well, because Casshern is the villain. If you follow the lore of the actual plot that they're telling you. Because there's twin Casshern who's evil and his evil mistress girl. But then they literally tell him, like, no, it was you. You're the one who killed the one who let everyone live forever. It's your fault everyone's dying. And then he, in return to thank them for their services, he kills the two of them. Probably to prove their point. So he kills the two of them. So the two villains kind of become like, oh, were they supposed to be big baddie villains? Because they're just kind of dead now. And was there a big... Is Casshern supposed to be the actual bad guy? I don't really...
Hold up, we got my boy.
Holy Hydras, it's just a little girl, a little lassie, a little bluebird.
Hades!
I'm sorry. Is that a mosquito? Where did I put that bug spray?
Mosquito?
Sick.
So you're Hades. You use Zack and try to cast Terra into the darkness.
So, I take it you're acquainted with the spineless chicken.
Terra is my friend, and I hear
My
he
son.
triumphed over the darkness. He's
Her boyfriend.
not spineless.
It's complicated.
Fun, you know, because I heard different. You see,
Yeah,
it was
he
Chip
did.
who asked me for a
It's his
little,
mom.
say, instruction on how to use darkness in the first place.
Never.
And he was so close to doing it, too, when the sap went and got cold feet. Now, if that ain't cowardly, I don't know what is. But you, my little neighbor,
He got him to
why
do his
not
flame
get over
thing.
here
I like it.
and demonstrate
He's
some real
so
courage for
bipolar
the
in
winning
these
team.
games. It's great.
The darkness doesn't
He is in the show,
interest
too.
me.
You know?
That
Movie.
was rude. No, thank you.
Actually, there was a
This
show, I
would have
think.
Sufficed. Fortunately, I still
Hercules?
get to
Yeah.
I know they
destroy
made
you.
a
Rules
couple
say
movies at least.
You face me next. And
Well, they made the
I
one
have a
movie,
whole
but I
lot
think they
of
made a TV
darkness
show.
With your
I think so.
name
They made more than the
on
movie, I think.
Did they? I don't know if
Don't
that's
remember.
true. I don't think they made a Hercules, too.
Man, if only I were up against him.
Man, if only you weren't fucking useless.
Agua!
Agua!
You
Water!
Agua, help! We must avenge Rock! Okay, so, where was I in that? Fucking, Acid Dream, blah,
Acid
blah, blah.
Dream,
Oh, yeah,
blah, blah,
so
blah.
he's told that he was the bad guy the whole time, and then for thanking the bad guys for telling him that he's the bad guy, he then murders the two bad guys. Casshern's really a good guy in that anime. I don't understand
Good
why
guy.
anyone would think he's not. So then they wander in the desert for a while, and they come across a place where all the robots are happy and can live forever, because the person that he apparently killed, I think her name was Luna, or Moon, or whatever, it turns out that she was not actually killed by Casshern. It was all a ruse, and she was in hiding, and wasn't actually killed by Casshern the whole time. And then they go and meet her, and he comes to the thing, and all the robots look at her like, fuck you.
We're fighting the Titans.
Oh my god. So
you actually fight in the third game, you fight 3 of them at once.
Cool.
Which I'm like, that's cool.
No fair, Hades.
But I also been told that
That's cheating.
I've been told that Kingdom Hearts 3 is a buggy mess.
Yeah, I have heard that too.
Maybe you better call others
Yeah, we're good.
He's already here.
Don't,
This is my fight. For my boyfriend.
I'll do this for myself because I'm a G.
Because I'm a proud independent woman who needs no man, but chooses to have 2.
Yeah,
See what I did there?
I see what you did there. She only has 1 man, thank you.
And a kid.
Ben's her son. So anyways, so they go there to find out that she wasn't actually dead the whole time. She was alive the whole time, and there's a small group of robots that can live forever because she's there the whole time. And then they find out that no, it was all a lie. She never actually gave people immortality. Just any robot that was about to die, she threw into a fucking hole to kill them off and never be seen again. But they... So like,
she's
she
the bad
actually
guy.
was killing all these robots the whole time, and it just gave the illusion that people could live forever. And then, if they change it again and determine that she actually can make people live forever, and Casshern is gonna stop her because Casshern's actually the bad guy the whole time. Because he literally goes and then they like establish all this extra shit that means nothing to anyone, and then fucking she becomes okay. They essentially state that no, she can actually keep people alive forever, but she was just doing the other thing because reasons that don't make any sense and isn't actually true, or could be true, maybe, possibly, who knows? And then she's like, can actually make people live forever. So Casshern walks in there one day and is just like, remember, as soon as any of you forget what death is, I'm gonna come back and kill you all again. And all I can think of was just like, so Casshern is like the bad guy, right? Like that's,
it's decided, right?
Or is he just like so certain that he's the good guy that anything he does is good when it's really the bad thing? Like the only way I could break it down to someone, because they were like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, that would be like the equivalent is if someone found the cure to cancer and was like gonna give it to everyone for free, and I strolled in and was just like, but as soon as everyone forgets what cancer is, I'm gonna come in here and kill you and destroy the drug that cures cancer. Like, I'm clearly not the good guy, but they're still trying to play him up like he's the good guy by the end of it.
He asked her out on a date.
Aw, she can't make any promises.
When he becomes a hero, he'll ask her out on a date.
Well, he becomes a very dead hero.
Yeah!
Yeah! She was very flustered by that.
Yeah.
Clearly there is something there between the two of them.
Yep.
It's over already?
True canon lore. Quick, someone write that into my fanfic.
It's already happened. It's already happened. She has an X on her chest so Xehanort can see her.
While she's dating Zack.
You want to be a hero too.
Oh my god, I have the greatest idea for a fanfic. Quick, end the episode.
Next week on Dragon Ball Z. Wait.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z, Aqua gets the gadicking by Zachary.
Gets the Zadicking.
The Zadicking.
Just become a true hero after.
The Zadicking.
Tara.
I hope they don't hit each other too hard. Anyways. I love Dragon Ball PP. That's like the fucking greatest goddamn video.
We debut this one.
Kajiki and Christian Stewart fight the Freezes. I hope they don't hit each other too hard. Vagina! Hanging out with little boys in spandex again? Yes. I love you, Vagina, but you gotta stop doing that shit. I mean, come on.
A chest? There's one chest in this world that I missed.
How did you miss one
That's
chest?
what I'm confused about.
Derek, please. I know you got the chest here, in this location, so there you go. That's that.
There's one, too.
Oh, yawn. Anyways. So yeah, Casshern Sin is by far my most hated anime of all time. I've never... It's definitely, like, at least in top 3. Like, it is so atrociously bad to me. Mainly because they keep changing the plot in the goalpost. Like, it's like playing soccer, but every time you go to kick the goal, they just, like, shove the goalpost out of the way. They just, like, move the whole net. And then you look towards the ref and you're like, dude, and the ref's just like, I didn't see anything. And the worst part about it by far, I mean like the worst part about it, was years ago I was like, this is bad. I gotta look up to see if anyone agrees with me on this. And I found one review of it because of course it's not well known in any way.
It doesn't exist anymore.
It's like super, like it was kind of obscure when I watched it. And, like, the review was, like, from before the show was airing on TV. So, like, there's, like, one review of it from this guy, and he was just like, this is a great anime. It's very in-depth and has a lot of thought put behind it. I'm like, they changed the plot 9 times! Like, there was no thought put behind it. And he's just like... And then he follows it up, because every anime reviewer is the most pretentious fucking human being on the planet, I swear to God. Anyone who reviews anime, I'm sure Derek knows what I'm talking about, but anyone on the internet that reviews anime always comes across, they might not be, you know, but they always come across
I just got the best thing in the game.
Oh yeah? Cartwheel?
Flaming cartwheel.
Nice.
But continue.
They always, should still be a water cartwheel, by the way. Just saying.
Because she's the magic!
But yeah, so they, but yeah, essentially his argument was that fucking, it was, no, it was really good and well thought out and in-depth, and he's like, I know some people wouldn't like it, because here comes the super pretentious anime reviewer line that they all have at least once in their videos, which is, no, I know some people wouldn't like it, but that's because it's a high-thought anime that you have to think about. It's not for those Narutards or those stupid Bleach-liking people. And all I could think of was just like, ah yes, the Rick and Morty argument before Rick and Morty. It's a big-brain show and your feeble intelligence cannot handle how big-brain it is.
Oh my god, I hate those.
the mighty, you're just not smart enough to get it arguments.
I hate that.
It's like, listen, I get it, it's just bad. Like, that was the, I had that, I had one of my friends try and do that to me for, the Rosebud Sled movie. What the fuck is it? Citizen Kane. I watched Citizen Kane for, like, college, one of the college projects, and I was like, I finished watching it and I was like, that sucked. And it's widely considered to be the best movie of all time, and I finished and was like, this movie sucked. And like...
You just didn't get it, Chris.
Yeah, no, that was his argument. He was just like, you just didn't get it. I'm like, I get it, it's just bad. Like, I'm like, I get it. He's upset about his lost childhood, and no amount of money will ever fill the void of his lost childhood. It still sucked. Like, I get where they're going for. It just sucks. Like... I don't feel for any of the characters. All of them are rich, whiny assholes. I'm like, the dude's literally whining that he had a lost childhood, even though he's the richest man in the universe of all time. They state it multiple times that he's the richest man in the entire universe. And he can't just buy a fucking sled. Like, just go buy a sled and go slide down a hill and pretend to be a child for a day, dude. Like, you're a fucking billionaire. You can just do... No, you're a billionaire in the 1920s. You can just do whatever the f you want at that point. Like, your money is going to be worth $1 billion all the way up until they invent inflation in the 80s. Like, you're so rich forever. Like,
you're too rich.
Like, you have forever. But yeah, that's like, that's always my favorite argument, is just the show is just too big brain for you. Tiny, feeble, small-brain man.
Hate it.
Which, by the way, there's some smart shit in Naruto, too. Just, like, it's just not the focus of Naruto. Like...
Oh, no, not at all.
Essentially, his argument is like, well, that show is the focus is that, but the focus makes no sense. Like, essentially, the most I could get out of that show is that it was trying to argue that you can't run away from death, is essentially what I was getting out of it. Here's the problem with that. By the end of the show, they established that you totally can run away from death because no one can die. Okay, but then they established, well, Casshern's gonna come back and kill them, so you still can't run away from death. See, we got you, aren't we smart? We're super smart, right? And it's like, not really?
No. No, Mr. Superman's not here.
Anyways, we're gonna pick this up on the next part. We'll see you then. Peace.